What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to install a dual DIN radio in your 99 to 04 F250. Stay tuned. We're installing the Alpine ILX W670. I had this in my last truck. It's honestly my favorite radio ever. And for that, you will need an install kit. That's the part number. Well, first things first, pop the plastic off. I don't know what that was. Then obviously disconnect everything that goes behind it. What is that? Might be able to just get it out the way. Usually you would need a harness adapter, but I figured since this already had an aftermarket radio, it already has it. Look at that. That's gonna look nice. This is everything needed. USB cable, 3M stuff, GPS. Wow, I didn't know I had that. Mic. I believe these are the steering wheel harnesses. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Subs and stuff like that if you wanted that. I don't think we'll really mess with the GPS system much because I'll just be using Apple CarPlay anyway. Oh yeah, that's the hardest. We'll probably just twist these on before we crimp them just to make sure everything works. Yeah, if you didn't notice, kind of messed up there. So we gotta fix it. So this is to an amp and a power antenna. Not using those, not yet at least. This parking brake and reverse signal. I believe either grounding out the parking brake or not installing it at all. I'll have to double check on that. Were you to install this to the parking brake, you can't use the functions while you're driving. I'm not recommending it for safety reasons. You know, if you're in the drive-through, you have it on drive, you want to mess with it. You don't have to put it in park, stuff like that. The reverse, I believe, is so it can lower the volume when you put it in reverse, possibly. I've seen that in newer cars. We're not really worried about that. The USB wire to plug in your iPhone or Android, and the microphone to make phone calls. These other wires for the reverse camera, stuff like that, we're not going to install just yet. I do have plans for it in the future, so stay tuned and we will install those at a later date. But this just for now to get Apple CarPlay in this truck. Now we plug it in just to see if everything works. Look at that. So instead of grounding it to the frame, I'll just ground it to this one. That's what I haven't done that yet. I just wanted to make sure it'll work. But it works. You know. Obviously no sound is coming in. I don't have the antenna plugged in, but I hear the static, so that shows me it works. Let's finish this up. Now we route the microphone through here, behind the dash, up the pillar. We will probably place it somewhere around right here. I think on my old truck, I just had it clipped to this, so something like that. It is pretty long, so it gives you a lot of room to play with. So I took this weather stripping off so we don't have to unbolt this. Just run it through here and shove it in there. Well, actually I got the wrong way, so we gotta do it all over. Run it through here, back through up here, and then right through here. You just leave it there. Up there is where I'll show you how to put the microphone on. I believe last time I may have had it like this. Probably something just like that. No, I don't like that. It's a little better. Not that much wire showing. Put the weather stripping back on. We'll just zip tie the rest up. On the older trucks, you do need to trim right here. This one has already been trimmed due to it already having an aftermarket radio. You can look it up on YouTube. There are a lot of videos on how to do that. Basically, you just trim the lip all the way around off of here so this can fit in there. Let's see if we can do it with one hand, like that. I did have to trim some of this lip a little bit more. And I did have to modify right here. And right here, just used a little file, made the holes a little longer on both sides. And then I super glued it right there. on both sides. So right now I'm just waiting for it to dry. And we will put it in the truck and I will show y'all how it looks. I believe it is still drying. You can see right there where I super glued it. And I did have to trim right there so those ears can fit on it flush. Trim right there. That's how it'll look. And it will go right there. But I'll show y'all how that looks once it's all in there. I think I do have to modify this a little more. I may have to cut those tabs off, cut these off, so it can fit in there. So I'm gonna unscrew this, cut these tabs off, and I'll show y'all what it looks like. So that's how it's gonna look. Pretty much flush. I mean, it does look a little ugly, but we're not too worried about that. No one's gonna see it. That's what it should look like. Ah! Now this one, I could put it in there and make it look nice. We might be able to make that work right now. Look at that. We'll kind of just shove that in there along with everything else. Moment of truth. Look at that.
Too many questions, I
Alright, now to see if the Apple CarPlay works. Dang, look at that. Thank you everyone for watching. Please comment, subscribe, and like. And I'll see you on the next one.